Welcome back to Kevin Pollak's Chat Show. I am, of course, Kevin Pollak. I mixed things up because it's our first show of the new year. Is it 2015? Because I keep writing 2015 on my checks, so I don't. Hi, how are you? We have a very exciting show for you today. I don't know why I'm yelling. But I'm just checking over some of the emails that you've been kind enough to send us. I want to thank you for that. Happy New Year. How are your holidays? Write to us at contact@kevinpollakschatshow.com. I would love to read your letters, your emails, answer your questions for myself, Mr. Sam Lavine, who we'll talk to in a second, or 9, Ms. Jamie Foxx, or anyone that works on the show, or if you know an upcoming guest. For example, Rainn Wilson will be here in a couple of Sundays. Anthony Cumia will be here next Sunday on the 11th live of January. So write to us, won't you? Won't you? Before I get to Jamie and Sammy to catch up on the new year, I want to tell you folks about a new sponsor of the show. It's of the local kind here in the Los Angeles area. I'm talking to anyone who actually lives in the greater Los Angeles area, or any of you who are out there and plans to visit here. Listen up. Fin, F-I-N, is a great introduction to the exciting and tasting dining culture happening in Culver City. You heard me, you fuckers. I said Culver City. This Asian tapas restaurant is cool, chic, and doesn't leave your wallet empty. How about that? There's no one waiting on the way out to the car to mug you and take the contents of your wallet. You pay. It might be moderately expensive, but you won't get mugged on the way out. Plus, if you stroll around back, perhaps you don't go straight to your car. They've created this mixology lounge in the rear of the building called the Alley Lounge. It's reminiscent of a 1920s speakeasy joint, but without the pretentious entering through an old refrigerator or an elephant's ass. There's some great places out here on the west side of Los Angeles to check out, folks, and I promise you, Finn is one of them. Sam Lavine, our very own, returns. I just lost $40. Actually, I just won $40 because someone took a bet with me that you would not return in the new year.
Who was dumb enough to make this bet?
It's probably best that I don't say because they work on the crew.
Uh-oh. I don't care for this.
They said he's not coming back.
There's distension in the ring.
It wasn't me because I'm not much of a gambler unless it comes to scratchers.
He's on his way back from Taiwan.
That's it. He's getting a foot in the ass. That's what Kenny
I
Chin's
don't know if
getting.
that's a clear indication.
That's what Kenny Chin
of who
is
it might
If
be.
he makes it back.
Sammy, you were back east at the homeland.
I was.
With the Max.
The Garden State, yes. I was back in New Jersey with Max, Harrison, Lynn. They all send their best.
Lynn too?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, because sometimes I'm not sure.
You know what you did. We don't have to go into it.
Okay, let's not.
Yeah.
How about the other day when I was trying on shoes and I said, where's Max Lavine when I need him?
Right?
Right?
The #1 shoeman, I believe, in the entire tri-state area.
The really east of the Mississippi.
He's the guy?
He's running quite a racket.
And so how is Max?
He's wonderful, thank you. He's watching right now, no doubt, so
Oh, well, hello, Max.
there you go.
And how is the gift exchange between you and Max? I imagine you guys, there's no limit. You say, look, whatever you need to spend,
Yeah.
let's not discuss it.
Yeah.
There's no limit,
Here's the thing.
Uh-huh.
Some years ago,
right? You
Max
made a
and I
pact?
made an executive decision. Given that our birthdays are both in March, and Hanukkah, naturally, is the same every year for us. So the deal was, hey, my gift to you is you don't have to get me anything ever.
Huh.
And I expect the same in return.
And that worked out for both of you?
It's been working out for well over a decade now.
Yeah.
It's been great.
Do the words bah humbug mean anything to either of you?
No. But the words Black Friday still send chills down my spine.
I see.
So it's a win for everybody.
Yeah. I enjoyed the shopping on the internet. I'm not going to lie to you.
Oh, yeah, a little Cyber Monday action?
No, I like to get in there. I don't appreciate the 97 and 11 emails I get regarding Cyber Monday.
Oh, you got some emails?
Oh, boy.
Oh, I didn't get any.
I don't know how to unsubscribe as quickly as necessary. They come at you. They come at you for Cyber Monday now.
Yeah.
But I do most of my shopping on the internet.
It's great.
I can't get it wrapped as nicely.
Yeah.
Wait, what am I thinking? I get it wrapped much nicer
Oh.
when I have it done online. Amazon does a wrapping for you.
They do. It's okay.
It's not great.
Amazon wrapping is okay.
Well, it says Amazon all over the paper.
Yeah.
That's not great.
No. And it's pretty clear
And so
it was not
Harrison
wrapped
Lynn,
by a human.
Harrison Lynn, they can't have the same pact with you as the gift. giver.
No, we do not have the same pact. I got them a Roku.
Oh, great.
So now they
How
can-
fun was that? Is it
My
Flash
mom
12?
wouldn't even know what that is.
Exactly.
They have
She would be like,
flashcards
"What is this?"
to explain it. It's a whole thing.
They appreciate it, though. They can watch this show through the Roku.
They could. They should.
Yeah.
I don't know why they're not.
Technically, they can watch it on their big screen television
Yep.
with the Roku.
We're gonna get
You
on
just
that.
dial it up.
Yeah.
And you got them, of course, the Roku, and they got you, of course.
They got me a gift certificate to. I don't want to plug them because they're not a sponsor,
Okay.
like Roku is evidently.
Squarespace?
They got me a gift certificate to one of my favorite grocery stores, the Whole Foods.
Oh, the Whole Foods.
Yes.
See, now that's smart.
Yes, it is.
Sammy's out there. He's not eating properly.
No.
Let's make sure he does.
They want me to have more organic fennel.
Uh-huh.
That was what was on the card.
I'm surprised you like funnel.
I don't.
I didn't think you would.
We're not allowed to ever shop organic.
Yeah. Oh, that's a shame.
I try to get the organic bananas on occasion every now and then, and Jamie, if she sees that little sticker that says organic, they go right in the trash.
Yep.
That's not. No, you're eating them.
Oh, no, you got to eat them if you bring them home. So it was a good trip, and
It was
you
wonderful. Everything's great.
and you had a nice New Year's,
Had a lovely.
couple of parties.
But you know me.
Sure.
I don't even remember it.
No, how could you?
No.
Jamie, anything to report?
I just thought of something. Speaking about holiday shopping online, I kind of have a problem with one of our old sponsors that I used this year, but I don't know if I should mention it.
I ordered a wonderful sweater for Jamie from Mondo. Never came, and I got the confirmation email.
Up here is Mondo.
I got a big email saying, "Here's your confirmation, and go fuck yourself." Apparently. So Jamie, do you want to shout out the X? Because that's the thing about our show. All sponsors never come back. It's a guarantee. It's the only guarantee we have.
ProFlowers. ProFlowers.com. I went. They were having. Wanted to send my mother a holiday bouquet. They're
Yeah.
like, we have all these on sale for like $24.99, whatever. By the time it was like delivery. By the time I got done with it, I spent like $70. Like there was like all these hidden charges that they were not advertising until like you finally went to check out, and it was like, oh no, if you want it on this day, that's going to be $15 more. If you want that vase, it's $10 more. If you want it.
So flower specialists and also proctologists, as it were.
But I mean, they arrived and they were lovely, and they did arrive on Christmas Eve, and she loved them. But
They're still delivering
they were
on
$24.99.
Christmas
They were more
Eve.
like $62.99 or something.
So really, your problem is with the pricing.
It was the hidden fees, my friend.
We've got the old crew back together. So our own Samantha Ward is here, very excited. She's been working in the motion pictures as of late. We've got Josh and J-Mac running the TriCaster. New guy, Mike. Everybody say hello to Mike.
Hey, Mike.
What's up, Mike?
He's got some nice shoes on. We can't see him.
He's the whole outfit's. It's
They're
very
fancy
nice. Mike's a
kicks.
well-dressed man.
All right. I can't put it off any longer. It's time to get to our guest. I've tried to keep him in suspended animation as long as possible. Last thing I will tell you is that my directorial debut, the documentary Misery Loves Comedy, will have its world premiere at the Sundance Film Festival. Please be seated. Thank you. I want to thank Rena Ronson over at UTA for making that happen, because we were not going to get in on our own. Yeah, very exciting. And write to us again, please. Contact at kevinpollakschatcher.com. Let us know what you're thinking, what you're doing, how's your life, how do you do the show? Do you listen to us on the Earwolf Podcast Network? You son of a bitch. Have you subscribed to us on the iTunes, on the YouTube? These questions and more next week. My guest today and I thought we might have met through the world of stand-up comedy, where we both began our careers. But my aging memory is only left with walking around a mall in Canada while we were working on a film. We went to see a matinee that day. I'm going to let him tell you what the movie is, because he might remember, unlike myself. He is the creator, star, and host of his own podcast, which began before this one. It was one of the early, you could call him a pioneer. He wouldn't appreciate it. He's Canadian. Please welcome Harland Williams. Harland.
How are you, man?
You know, when I work in
an
Canada,
aborted
I will
gag.
send an email to a friend or leave a voice message.
Yeah,
And my gag was, my big bit
yeah.
was to say, hey, it's again, forgetting everyone has timestamp on all their messages and emails. It's 12:41 there in Los Angeles. Here in Winnipeg, it's 1978. Not a bad gag.
Not really nice, real good get. Nice grab.
It's a little shot.
It's nice.
I'm taking
it's nice.
at Canadian General. I see you have the 6+ there. Is
Yeah,
that because you're
yeah.
a big fellow with the big hands?
Oh, you're talking about the phone?
Yeah.
Okay, I
Yeah.
thought.
Well, is it, first of all, is it on airplane mode, which it should be?
Yes, it's actually, I keep mine on helicopter mode.
Okay.
Because I don't like to fly. I don't like to fly on planes. I'm a helicopter guy.
Uh-huh.
I love air travel, but I need a copper.
I see.
Yeah.
I did not know that about you.
Yeah,
The
but
name of
basically a news. I like a guy beside me doing news and traffic.
traffic and weather.
Yeah, keeps
Sure.
me updated. When I land, I feel like I'm in the loop type of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a film out called Foxcatcher.
Yes.
You saw it?
Oh, loved it.
Because that's the first thing I thought of when you said chopper, because there's a couple of chopper scenes in it that instantly give the sense of uber wealth of John DuPont.
Right.
Because
Okay, hold on. Are
when,
we talking about
when
the same movie?
When the wrestler is first arriving at the DuPont giant, maybe we're not.
Okay.
Foxcatcher is the true story of John DuPont, of the two DuPont billionaires who...
Okay, yeah, we're not
We're on
on the
different-
same page. I'm talking about the movie about the little boy, Eddie, who had a pet fox and it ran away and he chased it through the countryside in Europe and stepped on an old
That's
landmine.
Lee Daniels' Foxcatcher.
Yeah.
He stepped on an old mine?
He stepped on it because it was Europe. He was chasing his pet fox. He stepped on an old landmine, blew both his limbs off, and one of the legs twirled through the air and actually kicked the fox in the temple.
Yep.
And killed it. It's very sad. It's like the Europeans' old yeller. It's like Europe. Oh, if you're gonna laugh, maybe this isn't the show for me.
So what you're saying is the Europeans liked Old Yeller, they thought they could improve upon it.
They had their own twist using a fox, which is a canine. So technically, it's like a red-headed version of Old Yeller.
Of a dog.
Yeah, it's like a ginger. If you're a ginger, if you like gingers,
I don't.
then you wouldn't like this movie.
Not a fan. You ever dated Ginger?
Nah, I was more of a Marianne type of. I dated Marianne.
That's the only answer to that question.
Yeah.
How about redheads?
I could do a redhead.
You could do a redhead.
Yeah.
In other words, you haven't shied away because of the color of her hair.
Well, it's the color. What's fun is you might want to try. Are you single?
No, sir.
You're married. You might want to try this. What you do is, if you're out with a girl with any color hair, if you throw a lit match on her hair, her hair is very flammable, and for about 2 minutes they have red hair.
They're all redheads.
Yeah, it's hot. It's really fun.
It's really fun.
Well, you can roast marshmallows on her head for just about 2 minutes. You have a window to roast your wiener on her head. The flame.
I would say there's a way to roast your wiener with the gal without all the flamage.
Yeah, but the screaming's fun.
Yeah.
I like a moaner. I like a screamer.
You do like a moaner.
Yeah.
That I'd read.
Yeah.
In your research. I
Yeah.
get a dossier on every guest. In fact, the first question I have for you is,
I thought it was, have you seen Foxcatcher?
well, that was the first question which we got our answer to. So the second question is, have you tried the chocolatey caramel corn, and why the hell am I so addicted to it?
I have tried it.
It's brutal.
It's brutal.
I can't get off the stuff.
You know where they give it to you? You probably know this. When you go do Conan, he gives you a big can of it. He gives you a can. It's chocolatey caramel corn with cheesy caramel corn.
Separated.
It's in a big can.
Yeah.
And it's like, I've just learned to leave it there.
Yeah.
Because you go home and you just can't stop eating it.
Yeah, that's my problem. Speaking of redheads,
Yeah.
you've been on Conan 71 times, the research says.
I've been on a lot, yeah.
Yeah. But Letterman was the first one. First big one. First big late night show. Yes, no?
Yeah, Letterman was my first one, yeah.
I happen to know this because in the research, in the dossier,
Yeah.
there was a moment in time where you just sort of felt like this was all going to happen for you.
Yeah.
Before you had chosen entertainment as an actual profession. Mm-hmm. You're in college and you say to a friend, without sounding Here we go. Long before I knew I was going to be in entertainment, I was telling a friend in college, I'm going to be on Letterman
Yeah.
one day. And your friend said, what are you talking about? That's how out of the loop show business was in terms of being a part of your future.
Yeah, I
He
didn't
asked
know.
legitimately and sincerely, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
And you said, I don't know. I can just feel it inside. I'm going to be on the David Letterman show one day.
yeah, that's true.
So if you hadn't chosen, you hadn't performed yet.
No, I didn't even know I was going to do stand-up yet.
So did you think you were going to get on as a welder?
I had no idea. It was a mystery, and it was like
You
it was
watched
like-
Letterman.
I watched Letterman. I knew of it. We were college guys, so we all watched it. But it was just this inner voice that said I was going to be on Letterman. And when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, a similar thing. I used to skip high school and go downtown by myself and watch movies. And
Downtown?
in Toronto. And I'd sit in the movie theater alone, middle of the day, and I'd watch the movie screen and I'd go, I'm going to be on there one day.
You
and
did.
I had no idea where it was coming from. I just knew. I was like, I would say that in my head. I was like, and it's not like I wanted to be actor guy or comedy. It was this voice. And it's weird. It's something I've followed my whole life.
I had the voice when I was 5 or 6. I would be at the movies and think, I'm gonna do that. It
Yeah.
wasn't, I want to do that.
Yeah.
That's natural, I think, for most kids. It was, that's what I'm going to be doing.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a weird thing. It's better than a voice in your head telling you to kill the cat, I think.
It is. Yeah. Yeah.
Or set a girl's hair on fire. That's a debate for you? 50-50? Coin toss?
They're both fun.
Right. So from the inner voice comes the, I'm going to try this now. Did that happen at any point during college?
Well, there's another little beat to that story that you might get a kick out of.
Well, let's find out. Right now.
Well, it wasn't just one buddy. It was a bunch of buddies at college. I said that to, and they were
At the same time, or did you go from one to one?
It was just I was in a group one day, and I was talking to them. I had a bunch of college roommates and stuff, and I said, and when I get on Letterman, I'm going to cover my shoes in peanut butter.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did. And they were like, what? I said, I don't know. I'm just going to do that. And so the very first time I did Letterman, I snuck in a jar of Peter Pan peanut butter and a butter knife.
I'm going to say smooth, not chunky.
Smoothie. And we were riding down in the elevator with Zoe Friedman.
Zoe Friedman,
We
Bud's
were
daughter.
riding down, and we all got out of the elevator, and we started to go around the corner. This is my first time on Letterman. Go around the corner where you could see Dave sitting out at his desk. We're about to go around and do it. I said, I got to go back in the elevator for 1 second.
Back in the elevator.
Yeah, and they're like, because I needed to get away. It was the only place to get privacy, because we're in that hallway, and there's no obstruction.
It's like a stairwell, but that's it.
There was nothing there. So, and I didn't know the layout of the building. It was my first time. So they're like, what are you doing? You're going on in like 40 seconds. I said, just give me a minute. I went in the elevator.
They repeated, we were on in 40 seconds.
Yeah, and I ran in and I pulled the thing out and I got the butter knife and I coated the top of my boots, like this thick in peanut butter. I ran back out, and I know the producers had this look on their face that he just went in the elevator to snort coke.
Right.
And they had no idea I'd put peanut butter on. They didn't think to look at my boots. I left the jar of peanut butter in the elevator and the knife. And so I get out on stage. I'm doing my show. I'm kicking ass. And what was the producer's name? Was it Rob?
Rob Morton.
Rob Morton was. He was so unnerving because you'd stand on the stage, and he'd be at your foot level looking up at you at the bottom of the stage. The cameras were here. And he'd be like looking up at you doing your act.
And he's just looking at your shoes.
No, he wasn't. He was looking at me laughing, and then I'd never forget it. I looked down at him and I saw him looking at me, and then he went like this. He did one of these. He's like, ha ha. Like that. He's like, and he freaked out. And then when I finished my act, someone ran to Dave, and I remember hearing one of Dave's people go, he's got peanut butter on his shoes, like that. I think it might have been Rob Morton. And Dave loved it, and he brought me over to the couch. And,
Because you had peanut butter on your
well,
shoes.
I had a great show, not to toot my own horn, but it was an awesome set.
Well, there's video evidence of
There's
it.
video evidence, and Dave just loved it and sat me down. And he goes, Harland, there seems to be some kind of substance on your shoes, and I told him why, and so my buddies started phoning me like all the next week, going, dude, we remember when you said that peanut butter thing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a neat circle.
Well, so here's the question I have, one of many, is did you make such an effort to make sure there would be peanut butter on your shoes? And really, for those of you watching and listening, taking any sort of gamble on your first appearance on arguably the most important late night show in your life at that point, and in this case, a long time dream come true,
Yeah.
that would be the maybe worst time to fuck around or take a gamble of any kind. So my question is, and also I have a sense, if I may, that you had a great deal of respect for the reverence of that show. So you weren't being disrespectful in any way, shape, or form. So were you keeping the promise to yourself or to your friends that you had threatened, or both?
I was keeping the promise to myself and to my friends, but more than anything else, I realized it was unnerving, to say the least, to do my first Letterman. And I hadn't done a lot of TV up until then. I was one of these guys that just kind of sort of popped onto the scene when I moved down here, and I thought, you know, this is pretty serious stuff, even though it's stand-up. This is a serious moment for me. And I thought, I need to feel silly. I need to feel silly out there. Comedy to me is silliness. I need to feel silly all over, inside. And so I had to do that to offset all the pressure and all the serious intensity of being on that show.
Right.
And so by putting peanut butter on my shoes, I stepped through a door where everything was funny to me automatically.
Yeah, you probably had an inside tickle.
I did. That was it.
The whole time.
And I realized I needed that, and I thought, this is my moment, and if they don't like it, that's on them, and I gotta follow my heart and follow my feelings. And
so you wanted to diffuse the pressure and the stress.
Yeah, and I just wanted I wanted it to be fun.
And feel silly.
Feel silly, and silly is the hallway to comedy to me. You know, silliness is. Some people are very technical with comedy, and it's a serious art. It's very serious for them, but for me, it's always silly and it's chaos.
You like chaos
it's unpredictability.
On stage. I know that.
I like it.
I know sometimes you'll just throw out a premise or a question to an audience member, like, have you ever lost your cat?
Yeah.
And I'm just making that up. But you'll just ask a question like that, and then while they're figuring out how to answer, you'll literally start talking about what it would be like to lose a cat.
Or I'll go off their answer and it'll help me fill in the blank. I did one the other day that didn't get much of a response. I right out of the gate, I walked out on stage, I asked the audience, and nobody really answered, but I asked the whole audience, I said, have you ever farted so hard your asshole looks like an apple fritter?
That did not get the response it's getting?
Nobody answered, and it was.
Were they just laughing, or
there was some giggles, but nobody really
fessed
up.
What you're saying is you expected an answer.
You'd think somebody's farted that hard.
Because you asked the question sincerely.
Sure, basically you know somebody in that crowd farted so hard that their anus fluffed out like a head of cauliflower, right?
Sure. Well, maybe it was the apple fritter that threw them. If you'd said cauliflower.
A head of cauliflower, yeah.
Maybe you.
Also, you're going to need a friend to verify that it looks like that, since it's hard to see by yourself.
Yeah, and that's a
really
good friend.
two-man job.
That's a good
What
friend.
if it had a hand mirror? You can use a hand mirror.
Yeah.
Wow. Leave it to the dame to come up with the hand mirror angle. That's got Harland laughing because it's a sincere. She's troubleshooting. She's trying to be helpful.
Yeah.
And also, that's why she's the head writer on the show. But there's no off switch is the fun part for you.
Right. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, that's why I remember walking through the mall, which we're finally circling back to.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember the name of the mall?
Le Bon Petit?
Sure.
Was that it?
Nope.
No.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea. I'm not
I
actually.
just said the fine small is what I said in
did say
French.
the fine small.
Le bon petit
Yeah,
is
the fine small.
good, the fine, the good small.
Couldn't petite also be tiny?
Yeah, well,
I
tiny
like-
is small.
I like the fine tiny, if I may.
Yeah.
I fought under that name in the 60s. So we're walking through the Fine Tiny Mall.
Yeah.
And I just remember my favorite thing you said the whole movie experience was, you should see my dad. And you would say it in response to really anything.
Yeah.
Did you want a coffee? You should see my dad.
You should meet my dad.
Oh.
You should meet my dad. Yeah. I realized it was the precursor to That's What She Said. Because it was kind of like I was telling someone this the other day. I was talking about, I did a That's What She Said. And it struck me in that moment that I used to say that all the time. You should meet my dad.
Yeah.
And I realized that's what she said, but I was doing it like 12 years ago type of thing.
Yeah, no, you started it.
No, I didn't start that, but I didn't even start You Should Meet My Dad. That comes from another Canadian comic named Harry Dupe.
Let's talk about Harry Dupe for a moment.
Yeah.
Why can't we get Harry Dupe on the show?
I don't know why. If he hadn't been hit by that cement mixer, he'd probably be here right now.
So before he got hit,
Yeah.
he would say, you should meet my dad?
He would say it like every now and then, you should meet my dad. And then it got in my head, and then I started to say it after everything.
Right.
Oh, what a nice day. You should meet my dad.
But the difference is, Harry meant it.
No, Harry was doing it, I think, as a goof too. But now I'm starting to wonder if Harry got it from somewhere. And if he got it from Steve Carell, I'm going to be really upset because then it all comes back to That's What She Said.
Right. I don't think Steve Carell was Canadian, though.
No.
No. Yeah, it would be the non sequitur answer to anything. You should meet my dad.
Yeah.
And I just remembered thinking, this is an unorthodox comedic point of view and frame of mind. But it's something that clearly you brought on stage the very first time and every time since. And in the research, it kind of suggests you didn't have a lot of influence to draw from to create that persona that you brought on stage, which is a heightened version of yourself. You know, most comedians,
Yeah.
when they start out, they're hiding behind some sort of voice because
Yeah.
they don't really have their own yet.
Yeah.
So I like in the research where you were saying, yeah, I saw comedians and they made me laugh and I like them and there's a lot of favorites, but I don't know about having anyone being, you know, an inspiration or an influence per se.
Right. It sounds pretentious, but I purposely try not to have inspirations or influences, even though there's guys I love and think are amazing.
Well, Harry, first of all.
Harry Dupe. I love Harry.
Yeah.
But I mean, I could run a laundry list of incredible people, but I try to leave their talent at the door. And I know it's not easy and it might sound crazy, but I always think back to, you know, when movies started, when the first stand-up comedians started, Charlie Chaplin couldn't go and look at a library of comedy movies to figure out what to do.
Right.
And, you know, Laurel and Hardy couldn't reference things. Buster Keaton couldn't reference things. And I thought that was purity. You know, that came out of, they had to build comedy out of nothing.
Right.
And so when I got into comedy, even though I saw how it worked, I tried to not be influenced so that I could build whatever I do, whether it's good or bad, you love it or you hate it, out of nothing.
Right.
And you could probably look at anybody and go, there's traces of this and that, but I at least tried to find that nowhere world, so that everything I did could be carving new ground, even if it was just for me personally, you know?
Well, it's a couple of my heroes, I think, did that, like Steve Martin and Albert Brooks. When they would go on The Tonight Show, they would do a wholly original piece. I remember with Steve Martin coming through the curtain. My next guest, you all know him, please welcome Steve Martin. And he comes through the curtain and he stops just at the point where his arm is the last thing to come through the curtain, but it stays behind.
Yeah.
And then he says, I'm sorry, I don't know how to explain this. I was on my way here, I got pulled over, please welcome Officer Daly. And then he comes out, and he's handcuffed to a police officer.
Oh, that's great.
And the police officer sat with him on the panel after he did the stand-up
Yeah.
act with the cop on his wrist.
Fantastic.
And then he went to the couch
I love it.
with the cop on his wrist. Another time I remember he ordered room service. He was in the middle of an interview with Carson, and a waiter came out with a tray. And Steve said, "Oh, I'm sorry, John, I forgot to tell you. I didn't get a chance to eat at the hotel, so I had them bring him." And the guy sets the whole thing. Is the new guy sneaking up to kill me? What's happening here?
There were cables coming undone behind you.
Cables coming undone?
Taking them off.
All right, reminds me of my Aunt Flo.
Oh, I had an Aunt Flo.
Did you?
Yeah,
I had an aunt. No, I really had an aunt. Flo.
I did too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, she was my great aunt. She was my mother's aunt.
She had a crazy voice, my Aunt Flo. I used to do it.
Give us just a little. Just give us a taste, if you will.
Well, she used to talk like this,
nobody
you
wants
know? She had crazy, she had like kind of a pelican guzzle or a waddle or whatever. I got one too. I shaved my waddle this morning, by the way, for your show.
Thank you for that.
But she used to kind of talk like this, and I used to it was my mother's, my mother's sister, Annie Flo.
Which is what your Aunt Flo is, I think.
Correct.
Was.
Yes.
And so at night, I used to lay in bed, and my mother would be downstairs in the living room reading. She loved to read. And I had 4 sisters, and we were all upstairs, and my dad would be out at meetings all the time. And I would just lay in bed, and out of nowhere, it was just quiet. I'd go into my Annie Flo's voice, and I'd call my mother's name. Her name was Lorraine, and I'd just be out of the darkness, I'd go, "Lorraine!" for no reason.
Did she fall for it?
I'd do it like 2 or 3 times. My mom would just go, "Harland, stop it, go to sleep." Like she didn't really.
So Lorraine wasn't in the house.
My mom was in the house. She was downstairs.
I mean, your Aunt Flo wasn't in the house.
No, Aunt Flo, no. She lived somewhere else at a lasagna farm or something. But I would just yell. I would do her voice in the middle of the night to yell my mother's name for no reason. It made me laugh.
Sure.
I just lay in bed and giggle.
You like the way your Aunt Flo said your mom's name. And you wanted your mom to
Yeah.
enjoy that as well.
Yeah.
I just want to take us for a moment, if we can, just a moment for us.
Yeah.
Sammy, join me if you will.
With pleasure.
Just imagine working those lasagna farms. Sicily,
Too much ricotta.
too much ricotta, yeah. Too much of the ricotta. Well, let's talk a little about Lorraine and John,
Oh,
if
geez.
we may.
Sure,
The
whatever,
folks.
whatever you want.
4 sisters and just 1 brother?
No, a fake brother.
Fake brother. And by that, of course, you mean somebody
Hagen.
remarried, half thing happened?
No, it's I went to college with my dad had a friend in college named Norm Williams,
I'll say.
and he had a son named Steve Williams, and Norm Williams and my dad John Williams found out that their 2 sons wanted to go to college and study animation. So Norm sent his son Steve over to meet me one day, and we ended up going to the same college, and we became roommates together for 3 years.
The Williams boys.
The Williams boys. So whenever people met us, they were like, "Are you guys brothers?" And we'd have to tell this whole long story. And so eventually, after about a year and a half, we just started saying, "Yes, we're brothers." And so everyone started thinking we were really brothers. And then when we got out of college, I went my way into the entertainment industry and got some notoriety. And Steve went into his field and got notoriety.
Which originally was visual effects and special effects and animation. And
Yeah, Steve's the guy who created the T-Rex for Jurassic Park. He created the liquid Terminator guy. He directed the animation on The Mask, the first Mask.
Yeah.
He's incredibly talented. And so Steve started doing press, and I started doing press. And
you both said we're brothers.
we mentioned we're brothers, and then people started phoning our parents saying, "Did you have a kid we don't know about?" and so it started, and then whenever we did stories, the media picked up that, and so even now, everyone thinks we're brothers.
Well,
so we call each
I will
other
tell
fake
you,
brothers.
This is maybe, it took 225 shows and damn near 6 years for our research producer, Jason McIntyre, to not catch that fact, but actually have it reported that Steve Spaz Williams, as his nickname.
Well, I won't call him that because he nicknamed himself that,
Oh, you
and I
won't-
refuse.
you don't acknowledge
I
that.
told him, I said,
Yeah.
dude, you can't nickname yourself.
But if you were forced to nickname yourself, of course, it would be Harland.
Probably coconut shrimp. If you're gonna laugh, maybe this isn't the show for me.
Strong order.
So even your crack producer got fooled.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And he prides himself on the very opposite occurring,
yeah,
which
so
is the guest saying, "Wow, how did you know that?" And here we have our first case, 225 shows in.
yeah.
I don't have the due diligence, and nor do I want to put the crew through as many episodes as you do on Harland Highway. We get about 40 out of the 52 weeks, maybe. 6, 7 years? How long is Harland Highway?
My podcast, I think this is the 6th year,
6th year.
maybe the
So
7th.
you're in the 400 or 500 or 600 range.
Yeah, I'm on
episodes.
episode 653, I think.
So we're just lazy fucks. If only we've only done 225. Are you doing 2 or 3 a week?
I started off doing 3 a week, and I just do it by myself. And
Yeah.
they're very heavily produced with a lot of music and sound effects,
Yeah.
and it's like theater of the mind more.
Firesign Theater, that kind
Yes, so I use a lot of stuff, and I do it all on my own. So 3 was starting to wear me down. It was a lot of work, and so now I'm down to 2 a week, Mondays and Thursdays.
of thing. And would you have sound effects at the ready through your computer, or you put them in later?
No, I do it all later. I do all the voice, and then I go in and I chop in all the music and sound
Constant
effects.
production is what we're talking about.
Yeah. Some of them are a lot of work, man. Like
Oh, I've listened.
Oh, thank
They're
you.
a lot of work.
There's a lot of work in there, but I really enjoy it, obviously. But so that's why I had to cut down to 2 a week, and crazy. It's
I don't know
fun.
that you've had many guests on. Not many at all, right?
I don't have a lot of guests. It's mostly because I don't have time. I would like more guests, but I just don't have time. And
I don't know that it even makes sense the way you do it, though. to have
yeah, I
guests.
mean, I'm kind of my own guest. I interview all my own characters.
Yeah.
I have a whole library of nutty characters and just kind of talk to myself.
Mm-hmm.
It's easier than picking up the phone and making arrangements.
Or having any sort of relationships.
Yeah.
What's the latest fun? Some of the characters I refer to in my own little creation as sort of my latest toy. So who's your latest toy in terms of new characters?
Probably my latest character is Corporal Lieutenant French Lieutenant Ted Dowdy, who's an ex military guy.
Well, with those 3
Yeah.
monikers.
And he basically, he kind of calls into the show and talks about how civilians need to get over their bullshit because, he's crawled, on the last episode, he talked about how he crawled through the jungles of Vietnam and literally had to, in order to eat, to stay alive, he had to chop his own leg off,
Right.
eat it, and then grow it back like Swamp Thing the next day and do it again.
As many times as possible.
Yeah, and we have the nerve to,
Bitch and moan.
bitch about, Orange Julius being closed at the mall when he's,
Had ate his own leg repeatedly.
yeah, I mean, this is a guy that sucks ants for protein through the hole in his penis, he just...
Why? Why would he?
I mean, well, that's what he does. He's
I didn't know the penis had that
it can suck, yeah.
vacuum. It
Yeah,
can
especially
suck.
when you're starving in the jungles of Bien Bien Phu. You'll do anything to stay alive. The human spirit, if you have to suck insects through the hole in your knob to stay okay, well, if you're going to laugh, maybe this isn't the forum for me.
4 sisters.
4 Sisters, great hotel, lost my virginity there.
Nope.
Oh, sorry, what are you saying?
You grew up with 4 sisters.
Yes.
You said earlier.
Yes, sir.
Where do you fit in with the age?
Middle, I'm like a Oreo. The
Okay.
Oreo, yeah.
As it were.
Yeah.
And so the oldest sister is how much older than you?
Oh, God, I don't even know. I'm bad at this. I think she's maybe 7 years older.
Okay. So what I'm trying to get at is, I had one older brother, 2 years older, but I had heard over the years, sort of observed this interesting thing. If there's an older sister that's 5, 6, 7, 8 years older than the brother gets to see what the sister is up to and gets a little inclination as to what to maybe expect from women in the future in terms of either dating or boys that bring home.
Yeah, yeah.
Or any of it. Did you gain any insights?
I got kind of blindsided because of my sisters. All four of my sisters are incredibly good people.
Oh boy.
Yeah, really amazing.
And
like
did not prepare you for life.
it did. You know, honestly, it didn't. They were very grounded and stable and great girls. Like very just normal. You know.
I'm sorry, normal girls.
Just like there wasn't a lot of drama. There wasn't a lot of like it was very kind of grounded girls, like just great girls. And so I just thought all girls were kind of like that. And then you get out into the world and you realize when you're an adult, women are very complex, and not that my sisters aren't complex, but they're very even-keeled, my sisters. And as we know, not all women, but many women and many men can be kind of upsy-downsy. Complex and moody and whatever, you know, things can get hairy, but I just had for whatever reason, four very even-keeled sisters, so I just assumed women were very kind of just even-keeled. And, you know that they're not. I mean, God.
That's been my experience, yes.
Sometimes.
I'm wondering if it's an American-Canadian thing, though.
I don't know. I mean, have you dated a Canadian girl?
I don't think dated's the word we're looking for.
Married?
Have you married?
I've only married Canadian women. I have not dated them.
Yeah, it's so I don't know. In a way, I wasn't prepared for you know the women in Hollywood, for example, are high drama on the high seas. You know.
I find the men in Los Angeles to also be a bit of high drama on the open seas.
Yeah. It's a real tumbleweed.
Yeah, it's like you know when you had the double album to clean your pot so the seeds would collect in the middle, and then you could roll them down. You never rolled joints on top of a double album?
Like a double record album?
Double record album, yeah, because you wanted that to create that sort of gutter.
Yeah, I know. I got you.
Stems and seeds.
I'm now remembering. I had Kenny G's double platinum, and I remember some of this. Okay, well, maybe this isn't the show.
Not Canadian Kenny G, by the way.
No, not Canadian G. Kenny G. Yeah, and I remember all the stems and seeds in his hair, and he looked like a gay granola bar.
Can you? I'm sorry, I stepped a little on the gay granola bar punchline, but
not really.
Could someone please research Canadian G? I'd like to, if we could, pull up a clip of Canadian G.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was.
He's a superhero. He wears yellow leotards and has syrup dripping out of his twat.
This is what I remember about walking around the fine, tiny mall.
You don't even remember what we were doing there.
We went to see a movie, a motion picture.
You don't remember it.
Which motion picture?
You don't
we
remember.
We went to see 17 years ago?
Yeah.
Godzilla.
Nope.
No.
Not even close. That's why it couldn't have been 1998. There was no Godzilla movie out when we were shooting.
It was funny as all ass. We laughed our asses
Something
off.
About Mary.
No.
You're in Something About Mary, so it couldn't have been that.
Also came out in 98.
No. Do you know what year?
It came out later because I did something about.
You know this. This is your ballywick.
Yeah.
I did something about Mary way before we did the whole 9 yards.
There we go.
But it was released in the summer of '98.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, okay.
Oh, this is his thing.
There was an animated movie.
Ants.
Ants?
ANTZ.
Ants reminds me of that guy I do that's in the jungle and sucks them. You got that in your head?
I've derailed us.
Yeah.
I've derailed us.
We saw an animated movie and laughed our asses off.
Oh, we
South Park,
laughed.
Bigger, Longer, Uncut.
Bingo.
Yeah.
That's
summer of '99.
We saw South Park.
That must have been the summer of '99 is when we
But
shot.
But I guarantee they came out in '99 because I was just watching it last night.
That's what we
And that's when I
watched.
worked at the
Because
movie.
we went in thinking, how can a 2-hour movie of like cardboard cutouts be funny? And we howled, man.
Yeah, we were in pain. We were dying.
Yeah.
We were dying. I was already into South Park at that time.
And I had never even seen it. I didn't, like I'd seen little clips, but I had no idea what to expect. And without even knowing any of the characters, we were howling. Yeah.
I do remember the howling part. I just didn't remember which movie.
Yeah, no, we didn't see The Howling. We saw South Park.
I see.
Yeah, you keep getting
Which
mixed
the
up.
howling, by the way, not that funny. There are scenes, there are parts.
There were some funny moments, but for the most part, yeah.
Right. Is there a? First of all, how was your? Did you have a Canadian Christmas?
Yeah, yeah.
went-
No, I stayed here this year. I
did?
stayed in, I had a nice, hot, frosty LA Christmas. Here's what I do at Christmas. I need to relax.
I'll say.
And there's two methods I use to relax.
A
I like to pop bubble wrap.
and two.
Two, I like to stare into a fish tank. And this year, because I had a stressful year, I really needed to relax.
So
what I did is I went to the pet shop. I bought those Chinese koi fish with the bubble eyes.
No, you didn't.
And well, if you're not going to let me finish, maybe this isn't the forum for me. I popped their eyes. I sat on Christmas Eve. Do you want to hear these
While
stories?
staring at plastic wrap, you.
No. I combined popping, I'm this close, this close.
A year ago, your New Year's resolution was to stop the Coke and the Pepsi drinking.
Yes,
That was a year ago.
a year ago. And
13 into 14. Did you succeed?
I succeeded for most of the year. I had a little slip up for about 2 months, and then I stopped again. So I did pretty damn good, because that's my big addiction in life. I love Coke. Like, I'd wake up and drink it in the morning. You know that mung you get in your mouth when you sleep? The fun.
It seems you're not used to hearing laughter.
Well,
It seems to throw you each time.
I guess.
Like you're trying to be sincere.
Well, I'm trying to talk, and people are laughing, and I think maybe this really isn't the round table for me.
It was
For
the use
me.
of mung that got
Yeah,
me.
the great use of the word mung.
Mung.
So this year you got off, last year, 2014, other than a 2-month slip up. So were there any new resolutions made? I'd like to stay away from the resolutions myself. I don't enjoy disappointment. So I try not to set myself up for it.
Okay. Well, yeah. You mean, do I have any this year?
Well, it's the 3rd of, particularly the 4th of January. right now.
I did commit to at least once a month trying a celebrity dish. Like tomorrow I'm having Nelly Furtado coconut. Okay, you know what?
I'm not sure it's,
some Nelly Furtado lemon coconut shrimp.
where is that at? Is there a place that you get? You go to
Okay. Mary Callan, if you're gonna. And
You don't
then next week, Sigourney Weaver, Sigourney, okay, Wow. It's like you don't want me to talk.
All right, I want to hear if you could possibly conjure up a little sincerity,
Yes, sir.
just for a few
Yes, sir.
moments.
Hang on.
Worst Christmas ever.
Okay.
Shall I tell you mine while you think it over?
Yeah,
Okay.
because I got a lot, so.
So I had the one brother, but we had a lot of cousins. And then one year, everyone gathered at the house, and we decided to take this big family trip. So everyone gathered Christmas Eve for a dinner, and then Christmas Day we were going to leave as a big family and fly to Hawaii. And everyone loaded up and left the house, and I was forgotten.
Home Alone.
Yes, technically,
Did you do?
I was. That's hilarious. I was home alone. Yeah.
Did you do the aftershave thing when everyone left? Did you do?
I don't know what that is.
That's the most famous part of Home Alone. When Macaulay Culkin puts the aftershave on and screams.
No, I'm saying this really happened to me.
I know, and I'm asking you, because you were home alone, did you do what he did and slap the aftershave on and scream?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Because that's funny in a movie.
Okay, well, life imitates art.
But it wasn't funny when I got left behind. That was the worst Christmas ever.
And how old were you?
17.
And how Jewish were you?
Not very.
17.
Yeah,
And so what did you do?
I was thrilled.
You just had the house to yourself.
Exactly. It was super fantastic.
How funny would it have been if Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern showed up?
You Jew cocksucker, you.
Do that again? Oh my God.
That's what Joe Pesci said when he knocked on the door.
You Jew motherfucker, you.
That's it. That's all
Bring
you get.
Bring it.
I've stalled long enough. I need to hear worst Christmas ever from you now.
Okay, worst for me was probably, ironically, involved Hawaii as well.
Okay.
But I was vacationing in Hawaii, heading back to Canada, have a big family, okay, 4 sisters, my mom and my dad, and I feel like an idiot in retrospect, but I was flying from Canada. It was December 22nd. I was 36 years old, flying into Toronto, and I wanted to bring pineapples for everyone.
It's a lot of pineapple.
A lot of pineapples, and I didn't know that they were legal, right? That you can legally bring, a lot of places you can't legally bring.
Fruits and vegetables. Have you been on a farm lately from country to country?
So I
This is
did the
thing.
whole mule thing.
You shove the pineapples up your ass.
Okay, you know what? If you're gonna bait me, with these questions, wow! I sat here and listened to your thing and had some Macaulay Culkin fun, and I have 17 pineapples up my ass, and you're gonna laugh? And I take them out and find out they're not even illegal, and then we eat them, and everyone's like, "These taste off."
Well,
What's wrong with you? What is wrong with you in this show?
So you didn't take off that incredibly hard protective layer of skin, as it
No,
were.
it wasn't easy. They were pineapples. You asked me for my worst Christmas story.
That's got to be it. We mentioned a fake brother,
Yeah, Steve.
but there's a real cousin with some great talent. The two of you eventually
Oh,
do a
yeah.
little music together.
Yeah.
The Cousins.
The cousins, yeah.
Yeah. I met your cousin. One year there was the 20th anniversary of Just for Laughs.
Right.
And I did a little tour, and I think it was Sean Cullen, the Canadian comic.
Yeah. Funny guy.
Oh my God, funny.
Yeah.
Oh my God, funny.
Yes.
Like all the other comedians, Jeremy Hotz and everybody, we would all gather in the wings when Sean Cullen was on.
Yeah, he's
'cause
very
he was
funny. Yes.
crazy also. And then the Bare Naked Ladies guys came and did a couple of shows because of their love of Sean.
Yeah, they're good buddies.
So Kevin
Hearn is my cousin, and he's the keyboard player, and he writes a few of the songs, and he's kind of a utility guy. He plays the accordion, he plays guitar, he does backup vocals, so very incredibly talented.
Yeah.
Amazing.
But the two of you decided to do.
We have a hobby band called The Cousins, where we've always kind of written songs together and sing, and if you want to see some of them or hear some, you can actually check out. There's a music page on my website, harlandwilliams.com, and they're kind of tongue-in-cheek, but at the same time, they're kind of like sentimental love ballads and things like that.
Are they?
Yeah, they're some of them are kind of goofy, and
Well,
some of them
one of the albums, or maybe there's only one, the love songs.
the love song years. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all like kind of cheesy love songs, man.
And you sang as well on the.
I just sang. I kind of write and work the songs. He does the music, and I kind of make up the lyrics and write the lyrics and kind of create the sound of the singing, and he does the music.
When you say create the sound of the singing, you don't mean the actual singing, just the sound?
Like if the song goes, I want to buy a big fat dog, then I'll kind of find that I want to find a big fat dog sound, It's weird to communicate with someone who doesn't really get music, but
I don't get music. I don't get what you're talking about, but I like it.
yeah,
I'm already a fan of it.
Yeah, it's fun, man. It's a hobby thing. It's a good way to connect with my cousin, and we have a real kind of chemistry there, and it's magical. We literally just.
Did you know each other well as kids?
Oh yeah, I practically raised that kid. We've been together our whole lives, so we were very, very close. And
Right.
he was the artistic one from a big family, and I was the artistic one from a big family, and we just kind of found each other and connected on that level. And he's one of my best friends.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's great. And he's been through some tough times. He had leukemia and got close to knocking on death's door, and he made it through. And he's had some traumatic moments. So it's
How's
great.
he doing now?
He's doing great. He's
Wow.
doing great. So it's special to have him in my life, and we have a good time.
Right.
Yeah, man.
Does he know about the sucking the ants through the penis?
I don't know if he knows that character. Remember, this is just a character that does this.
Yeah, no, of course. I don't.
But he does know about he did receive a pineapple because he's family, so he knows about that.
Kevin does.
Kevin had a pineapple, a Christmas pineapple.
A Christmas pineapple, as I'm
Yeah.
sure the family still refers to them.
Well,
Remember when we all got Christmas pineapples?
ass apples? It's not in the dictionary, but some of them say ass apple.
Uh-huh.
The whipped cream helps mask.
The pain?
Not well. Yeah, that too.
Right. It can be a lubricant. We like to take questions, as I mentioned to you, from the live streaming folk
Fantastic.
who's out there
I
watching.
love people.
Occasionally, they'll follow a little, I guess you could say, a game that Jamie, our head writer here, created, where it's a rapid fire 5 questions in a row.
Nice.
Other shows have done these.
Real nice.
Sure. In this case, it's called Tweet 5.
Right.
I'm holding now because there's a graphic that comes on the screen.
Tweet 5.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Dave Keckner sings the song.
Corky?
Yeah.
Oh,
Love him, right?
probably one of my favorite, funniest guys on the planet.
Yeah.
Corky.
We love him.
Oh,
So the questions are designed, the Tweet 5 is designed specifically for you by an audience member, in
boy.
this case, Stephen Hartman.
okay.
So Coke or Pepsi, no correct answer. 5 questions, rapid fire, here we go. 1, pullovers or cardigans?
Pullovers.
Voiceover or live action?
Live action.
Big Bird or Tweety Bird?
Big Bird.
Ocean or desert?
Ocean.
That one's incorrect. Sidney Pollack or Kevin Pollack?
Kevin Pollak.
Also incorrect. You got 3 out of 5.
Wait a minute.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Will you do me one favor?
Sure.
And I know you do voices.
Anything you want.
I need you to do right now, just so we know that my answer was right, I need you to do, they call me Mr. Tibbs. You have to say that famous line from In the Heat of the Night.
As Sidney Poitier?
Yeah,
Not to be confused with Sidney Pollack.
Sidney Pollack.
Right. You want me to
And
do,
then
they call me Mr. Tibbs, as Jewish filmmaker Sidney Pollack.
Yeah, the guy who played, wait, who played
Hoffman's
Mr.
agent in Tootsie.
Who played Mr. Tibbs?
That's Sidney
Sidney
Poitier.
Poitier.
Yeah, Sidney
The
Poitier. Do
African-American
him, do him.
Do
and
him.
then it melts into you being the number one.
I don't feel as though your request is sincere.
It is. Do you want me to do it for you so
Yes.
you know? They call me Mr. Tibbs.
Fantastic. I
Now?
didn't know Sidney Poitier was in your
Yeah.
quiver.
Yeah.
Super fantastic.
Yeah. I do, I do voices.
I know you go all kinds of characters. That's what the Harlan Highway is.
No, but celebrity voices.
Now, this I'm not as familiar with.
Yeah, this I do.
I know you did Mr. T for a while.
Did Mr. T, but my new one's Sylvester Stallone.
You mean Frank Stallone's brother?
Sly, yeah. Sylvester from Rambo.
Okay.
But your voices deal more with getting the pitch and the tone.
Correct.
Mine more like I specialize in what the lips do.
Oh.
So if you want to zoom in on my lips here.
Yes. Let's absolutely have camera 3 zoom in. Mike, what are you doing? That was a joke.
All right, well, you can see it. They'll be able to see it.
Oh, you know what, Mike? Let's zoom in.
wanna
Let's
zoom
take
in?
the time.
Yeah.
Show 225 special for a couple of reasons. First time ever we
Yeah.
zoomed in.
Now I'll do the whole little run. I know you love this scene. This is the scene where it's the end of Rambo,
Sure.
and Rambo's holed up in the sheriff's station, and he's just blowing up the town. Everything's burning, and his commander comes in.
Played, of course, by.
You know the guy.
Sure I do.
Sidney Poitier.
Nope.
And he kind of tells him, dude, it's over. And then, so when you're ready, just keep your eye on my lips. You ready? Okay. First I'll do the commander.
Please.
Then, come on, Rambo. You did everything you could to start this little war. It's over. And then, nothing is over. Nothing. You just don't shut it off. It's not my war, you ask me. I didn't ask you. I come back from the fucking jungle. I'm walking through the airport. People spit on me, call me a fucking baby killer and shit.
Flawless. 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 Thank you for zooming in. Please, dear Christ, zoom back out.
Yeah.
Good Lord. So this is something you've worked on. You workshopped this.
You know.
That just doesn't come right off
Let's
the cuff.
just say someone at this table has been an inspiration to me.
Okay.
Yeah. Someone at this table.
Someone or something.
Somebody
Okay.
who does incredible voices right here.
Yeah. I was going to ask what your favorite thing about working with me on the whole 9 yards was.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
You know what it was, honestly? It was you were always like it was always fun and jokey. Like whenever we got together on the set, it was kind of like this. Just we always had, it was
Fucking
always
around.
just back and forth.
Couple of knuckleheads.
Yeah, but it's almost like, rolling improv, because it's just, we're always kind of, you'd do a gag, I'd do a gag, and we'd just keep rolling. There'd almost be no stop, like, oh, good gag. It would just kind of keep
Oh, no. Just keep going.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was really fun.
There's only one night in particular I could think that fun came to a grinding halt.
It came to a halt for you. For me, it was kind of like a free show. It was actually entertaining. It was,
Well, I'm curious because I was so freaked out by it.
yeah.
I wrote about it in my book called How I Slept My Way to the Middle, available every way you can buy a book, a signed copy of which is in your gift bag.
Uh-huh.
I wrote about this experience in the book, and it wasn't until today that I realized just how freaked out I actually was, because I had lost the vision of you being present.
Wow, that hurt.
No. It's not a personal thing.
Oh.
I promise you.
So you didn't remember
I
the
own-
movie we went to?
I only see Michael Clark Duncan, a Coke machine and shoes, the pimply-faced PA, spoke like the
It
pimply-faced...
was like a candy bar machine in shoes.
Right. It was like a little candy bar machine in shoes.
That's
Maybe
the
a cigarette
pimples.
machine in
Yeah.
shoes, because he was shorter.
Oh, I was going off the pimples.
Right.
Okay.
And this is my genius of improv, by the way. The rule with improv is yes and. I'm more of a yes period kind of improviser.
Hear it.
But I was so freaked out apparently by Michael Clark Duncan that I would love for once to hear what the witness's version of the crime was, because the detectives did not even uncover that there was a witness, in this case you. And you just said it was kind of a free show for you, what was happening. Because my memory is I came out of the trailer, it's a night shoot. Jamie working on the,
The night shoot.
thank you.
I'm not
Sung
singing
by-
the song.
Oh,
Okay.
Bob Seger?
Yep.
Is that what we're going for?
And I've explained before that the PA presented me an envelope with my per diem and said, sign for this, Mr. Pollock, as like the pimply-faced character from The Simpsons,
Sure.
who's really called
Squeaky voice teen.
Squeaky Voice Teen.
It's also the critic.
Later to appear on The Critic, originally on The Simpsons. Sign for this, your per diem, Mr. Pollock. And from behind me, I hear, how do we know, where's my per diem? Is the first thing he says. Where's my per diem? I turn around, hey, Mike. Yeah, where's Mike's per diem? Oh, I just have this one envelope, sir. Well, how do we know that's not my per diem? Well, it's got his name on it, sir. Yeah, Mike, my name's on the envelope, so make sure you get Mike his per diem. Well, how do we know that's not my per diem in that envelope when you put his name on it by accident? Now I realized, oh, okay, he's not kidding. He's crazy. and we get into the van to be driven to the set at that point. Are you saying you bear witness to all of that part?
I don't think I was in the van with you guys, but
Right.
I can bear witness to once we were on set in
That-
the car.
that part I do remember.
I wasn't in the van when
Okay.
that first confrontation happened.
Okay,
Yeah.
then I'm not crazy, nor did I leave you out of the memory. But once we get to set,
Yeah.
that's when the real trouble begins.
Yeah. That's when.
Because we're all shooting the shit, and then the director comes over and says Michael's refusing to shoot because Kevin apparently you stole his per diem, is what Jonathan Lynn said to me.
Now, just so people know, per diem is the money you get
an allowance.
when you're an actor and you get a spending allowance.
A weekly, nonsensical allowance. My favorite thing about per diem, and I think I go off on a tangent in the book actually, is that no matter how much money actors get paid, whether it's the $10, $15 million big giant movie stars or the
They get per diem.
lower end, everyone gets per diem, and they're
Yeah.
varying amounts.
Yeah.
But it's usually cash in an
right.
envelope.
Yeah.
And at some point in an actor's career, you stop seeing the money. It comes in a check form. It goes to your agent or your business manager. It rarely goes to you. And if it does, it goes to the bank. You never get any actual cash from show business entertainment. When we were comics in the early days, they would sometimes pay in cash.
Yeah.
And we got used to being a cash business.
Yeah.
I remember being a waiter. One of my favorite things about it was that there was cash in my pocket at the end of the night.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
This is the most addicting job in the world. Cash,
Yeah.
cash, cash.
Yeah.
And then the big time show business says, no cash
Yeah.
until you get that damn per diem.
Per diem.
And it could be $300 for the week.
Yeah, it
Who
could be
gives a hell?
800. Yeah, sometimes you get a big fat envelope and you're like, I don't want all this cash on me.
What do I do
It
with
was
this?
weird. Yeah.
That's why I started playing poker on sets of movies.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was an envelope of per diem
Yeah.
that caused all the problem on the set of The Whole Nine Yards that night.
Yeah, it was an interesting night because the shot that was being set up is me and you sitting in the car,
Dead.
dead, at an old warehouse by a river.
Yep.
And the scene was Michael Clark Duncan supposed to pour gasoline all over the car.
Well, I like your gesture, because your gesture is what we're used to seeing.
No, this is when he picked you up and shook you.
No.
Oh.
This is the can.
Yeah.
He should have done this.
Yeah.
Instead, because he was a little cranky towards me, it was more of this kind of gesture.
Just right
Because
on.
I remember thinking, I can't act dead. I'm being smashed in the face by water.
Yeah.
Smashed, not
Yeah.
doused. I
Yeah.
believe doused is what we're looking for.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very difficult. Because acting dead, by the way, let's
tough.
Let's derail this just for a moment. I find acting drunk and acting dead nearly impossible to make it believable.
Yeah.
I try to hold my breath. It never seems to work out
Yeah.
with being dead in a scene.
Yeah.
I also can't stop my eyes from fluttering.
Yeah.
Because all I'm thinking
Brutal.
is, you're dead, you idiot. Stop moving.
Yeah.
The camera's on you. You're supposed to be dead.
It's brutal.
But I'm not dead. There's nothing to act.
Yeah.
That's the only time acting feels 100% pretend to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I have to be drunk or when I have to be dead.
Yeah.
The rest of the time I can kind of make sense of the reality and somehow make it real,
Yeah.
but I can't make either real.
It's very tough. Yeah, I realized that in that movie when I had to be dead and they were lugging me around and I was like, God, it's just the breathing thing and the eyes open and yeah, it's very tough. Your eyes start to sting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird one. Yeah, I agree with everything you just said. Everything.
Well,
Just pull a Sean Penn, get fucking wasted next time you gotta be drunk. Or pull a Michael Clark Duncan.
and be dead.
And pretend to be dead.
And then
Too far.
Too soon. Too soon.
not soon enough. I've got another question for you. Mr. G. Burnett 23, that might be an @ name on the Twitter. What I like about the previous tweet 5 is he spelled, or maybe Jamie corrected him, the spelling of Kevin Pollak and Sidney Pollack, those two Pollacks are spelled differently. One has a C, one doesn't. This particular, can Kevin ask Harland what his favorite moments were on his podcast? We do need to spend a little more time on Harland Highway because I am fascinated by it. There are very few podcasts that like yours that do all the characters. Phil Hendry is one of the guys on radio that always blew my mind.
him,
We
yeah.
had him here on the show.
Oh.
He's so remarkable that I don't think show business has ever figured out what the fuck to do with him.
Yeah,
In terms
yeah.
of putting him into a TV
Incredible.
show or a movie.
Yeah.
He shows up in movies every now and then. This is 40. He had a little brief part in.
Yeah.
But not doing what he does, what his brilliance, genius
Yeah.
is, which is the ability to come in and out of characters. So you're interviewing yourself a lot of times on these shows.
Yeah.
And the question from Mr. G. Burnett 23 is, do you have favorite moments? Because after 660-something shows.
I have, my favorite moments are, I don't script anything.
Right.
Nothing scripted. Everything I do is just off the
Not
cuff.
even notes, no bullet points, what I want to talk about today.
Very
you
rarely.
just jump in.
Very rarely there's a bullet point. I'd say 1% of the time. So all my skits, all the comedy, every time I interview someone, it's all on the fly.
Wow.
And so my favorite moments are when, because the flywheels are in such fast motion, when you're doing that, you don't really realize what you said.
Sure.
Because you don't have time to think about it.
No,
It's
you don't.
just the comedy coming.
Right.
And so when I go back and I have to edit in sound and music and stuff, I have to listen back to what my interview was like with myself.
And sometimes it's painful.
And when I hear stuff that that makes me laugh is my favorite, because
Right.
it's like I hear stuff and I go, oh my God, that's so funny, and I didn't even have time to
Appreciate it.
appreciate it. Exactly, that's the
Yeah.
perfect
And
word.
but are you hard on it normally? Because it sounds like when you do make yourself laugh, it's quite rare.
It's rare because you don't want to step out of the character, but sometimes you just do, and those are my favorite moments when you make yourself laugh, you know.
So what you're saying is you would listen to the playback while laying in the sound effects and music, and you could hear yourself laughing at yourself.
No. I just mean every now and then that happens.
Right.
But I mean, no, I'll hear myself, because let's say I say, well, anteaters like to float upside down in marmalade. But while I said that, I don't have time to think about it and realize it's funny. But if I listen back and it makes me laugh out loud hearing it for the first time,
Right.
that makes me happy.
Well, I knew that's what you were saying at first, and then you actually said something about making yourself laugh, because that's one of the things about improvising that may be the trick, which is to get so lost in it that there is no time to laugh.
Yes.
Because there are some sketch actors, certainly Jimmy Fallon became famous for it. A lot of people, not a lot, but a handful of sketch actors over the years, they can't help themselves but laugh at their own shit. And in the Cowbell, the famous Cowbell Blue Oyster Cult sketch on SNL with Christopher Walken, Will Ferrell, it's not just Jimmy Fallon that's in the background laughing. Will Ferrell himself actually breaks a few times in that scene I was watching.
I'm going to challenge
the other
that
day.
notion, though, because I've learned as a comedian
Right.
that laughing at yourself, apparently laughing at yourself in a bit is a trigger within itself to elicit laugh from the audience.
Yes.
I've learned, and I think Jimmy, I could be wrong, I know Jimmy, and I've never asked him about it, but I think Jimmy might have got to a point where he realized me laughing in the skits is comedy within itself. It's a comedy device that he went to.
Right.
And if you notice, he would get laughs every time he cracked up.
Absolutely.
And I think in his case, because he did it a lot, I think he used it as a comedic device more than he was legitimately cracking up. I do believe and that's just my theory. I could be totally wrong.
I like the theory because that's always annoyed the shit out of me in stand-up comedians who do it. But in sketch acting, it's a whole other beast, as it is in every other facet.
And it's kind of fresh. Like Jimmy was kind of the first guy that kind of threw it out there, because it's kind of a faux pas. It's like unprofessional to laugh because you're kind of throwing the other actors under the bus. But he did it with such a charm, and it was so endearing that I think the other actors, if he was doing it on purpose,
right,
probably thought, oh, this is kind of getting us. When people laugh, that's our laughter too.
Right.
And to me, I think it might have been a device at times.
At times.
Because he started to do it a lot.
Right.
At first he did it and you knew he couldn't hold it, but then something in his head went, wow, I got a lot of laughs by laughing at myself. And
laughing at the sketch.
My suspicion is that as time went on, because it started to happen, almost became his thing.
Right.
I think maybe he might have used that as a little trick.
Yeah.
Possibly.
When would a shrimp do this, by the way?
Well, they have the little things on their heads.
Oh, up here.
The antennae, yeah.
'Cause your hands were down here.
By the way, do you know I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I hope you know the answer.
All right, let's
There
find
is
out.
a creature in the wild kingdom with your last name.
Well, there's a fish
Bing, that's all I need
called
to
a
hear.
pollock.
That's-
Pollock.
That's it. You
Okay.
got it. I didn't know you'd know, but you knew
There was
it
a
like
painter, same
Sydney.
spelling.
Sydney.
No, Jackson.
Sidney Pollock,
Sidney
the
Jackson
black
Pollock.
actor from In the Heat of the Night. But you nailed the fish, right? Like bang.
Pollock, I'm very familiar
How come? I need to know why you knew that, though. How do you know about the fish
with. It
pollock?
had been metaphorically shoved in my face a few times.
Like when you were eating
You know, there's
someone
a
else?
fish named after you.
Oh.
You know how kids like to make fun of your name when you're young?
Yeah.
I'm not sure how they
That's
would do
what they went with? I would feel like that's a poker thing.
Poker?
Yeah.
Pollock poker?
No, being a fish.
Huh?
Huh?
Are you giving me this? You've never heard somebody say, "What are you going fishing?"
What?
No.
Who's
I'm-
your
Drawing
nutty
for a
friend?
hand in a pot you don't belong in?
Oh.
And somebody says fish?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, that I got. I was just saying make fun of your person's name.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of fish,
Please.
how about that half-baked?
Good segue. That was good.
That's one of the. I don't know if you know this
was
about
good.
Sam. He's one of the best
Sam?
bridge
I
builders
like that. I like that.
our country's
That was-
ever had.
That was clever.
Yeah, there's London Bridge. You got
Yeah.
your Brooklyn Bridge.
Yeah.
You got your Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah.
You got your Bay Bridge.
You got the bridge in my sister's mouth. She got her orthodontist had to
Dental
put a
work,
bridge.
dental work.
Dental
Yeah.
work. Had to put in a new bridge.
By the way, I don't know if I told you this on Christmas morning. I had to put down my dog. How's that? How the hell is that?
I believe earlier I asked worst Christmas ever.
And now it just came back to me. Forget the pineapple thing. I had to put that. Check it out. I've got. Yeah, I'm holding my dog, and there's all these Christmas presents, and I realize I gotta open these presents in the living room. So it's fucking mortifying. I put my dog down,
That's what
and I go and open the present. Okay, you know what? I just told you I put my dog down, and you're laughing. Wow, dude, you are.
Why do I care so much about your life that I would fall for that? I went with you to that horrible Christmas morning when you had to kill an animal.
No,
And
I
it
just put
turns
him down.
out, just set him down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You weren't listening.
I clearly was not.
Yeah.
Like, so half-baked.
Yeah, what about?
Here's one of those performances, like almost all of them when I look through the research of yours, that it's one thing on the paper and then it becomes a different thing when you do it, when it becomes a Harland Williams performance in a film. Because I remember from the whole 9 yards, there were things that you were creating that I knew were not in the page. Now, I had read that script, but I hadn't read the script when you're a pee drinking cop. I hadn't read the script when you're hitchhiking. What is it? 7 minute?
7 minute abs.
7 minute ab?
Yeah.
Yeah, something about Mary.
I don't know how much of that is improvised. But in terms of half-baked, that seems like a wholly original.
Well, Half Baked was interesting because I didn't want to do the movie. I turned it down like, I think 5 times.
The research says you turned it down 5 times exactly because you just didn't want to glorify drug use.
Yeah, I was concerned about doing a drug movie, and it was just, you know, I don't know. I wasn't a drug guy, and so it felt kind of weird to do it, and so I was conflicted. But then, you know, I realized, you know, in Rocket Man, I went to Mars, and you know, it's acting. I finally got to the place. Look, there's people in the world that do drugs, and I'm just acting, and so I had to kind of fight with it. But
Had you already done the pee drinking cop?
Yeah, that was my first movie.
Right. So then maybe Half-Baked isn't quite as
Right.
Although
but
pee drinking cop is so cartoonish and ridiculous.
Yeah, I wasn't worried about teenagers drinking their own piss after I was the pee drinking cop, but I was concerned about teenagers turning to drugs.
Right.
And that I was part of that. And it was my moral conscience, you know, and so.
And then your agent said, it's just a role.
No, I came to that conclusion.
And then a friend of yours said, teenagers are going to turn to drugs every day for every reason other than because they saw a movie.
You know, I guess. I don't know. I was conflicted.
Right.
You know, I didn't want to leave something behind in life that maybe sent someone down the wrong track. And so I was conflicted, but then I just kind of had to grapple with, you know, these people are real, they're out there, and I'm going to portray one. And so I
And you're an actor.
I'm an actor, and so it was a struggle for me, to be honest. And so I passed on the movie like 5 times, and finally Bob Simons from Paramount took me out. He goes, Harland, just meet me for lunch. Meet me for lunch one last time. And I said, okay, I really like Bob. He was really a great guy. I went to lunch with him, and he just basically said, he goes, what can we do to get you to do this movie? And at that point, I had kind of arrived at a place where, you know, I'm an actor, just do it, but...
Please tell me, you wrote down on a piece of paper a number, and you slid the piece of paper across the table at him.
Oh, man, that would have been good.
Right?
That would have been good.
That would have been the moment in time.
But I think even better than that, I said to him, because I realized I had a bit of leverage at that point,
Right.
and I think the fact that he had made such an effort to get me in this movie, and Dave Chappelle wanted me in the movie, and everyone was
Right.
being so great and nice to me, and I felt like I was, you know, so I was dealing with a lot. So finally my mind, when I got there, I said, well, what would make this experience that I'm toiling with a little more, you know, a little more fun for me? And
Right.
so I said to Bob, I said, Bob, you let me improvise every line in the movie as much as I want. You let me improvise carte blanche across the board, and I'll do the movie. And he just went, you got it. And so we got on set, and on day one, the director, Tamara, who was great, she wasn't in on that conversation. But
Somebody probably should have told her.
Well, yeah, and it wasn't a bad thing, but on day one, I started doing my thing, and she started kind of blocking, and so I said, Bob, I got to meet with you when we wrap today. And it was all very cordial. I sat down and I said, Bob, remember our agreement? He goes, absolutely. And he went and talked to Tamara, and the rest of the shoot, I was just making up lines all through it. But not to be selfish and make up lines and take over the script, but I would do takes from the script, but I also would do second takes
Sure.
where I got to put my own spin on it. And as fate would have it, they ended up using quite a number of those improvised moments. So I feel like it all worked out.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if this is the difference between an American thought process and a Canadian one. I keep coming back to it, but there's a standard joke. You know, I'm not the only one. Many standard jokes. Because life seems so civil in a generalized way. Civil in Canada versus the States. There's a properness to it. The classic joke, not classic, but familiar. How do you get 1,500 Canadians out of the swimming pool? You say, please get out of the pool.
Yeah.
There's order, there's a lack of chaos, in other words. So for me, if I make that deal with Bob Simons, and I'm improvising, and Tamara, who's not been clued in on this, says, would you mind, I'm going to politely and respectfully say, please talk to Bob, we had this conversation. It sounds like you waited till the end of the day.
Yeah.
And there's the Canadian version of that moment. You know what I mean? Because that was something you were looking forward to.
Yeah, but I also put myself in her shoes,
Sure.
realizing she was kind of not a victim, but she was kind of left out of the loop, and so I didn't want to create any friction or embarrassment for her, and I thought, it's only day one.
No, I'm not saying in front of the crew, you say, Tamara, what the fuck is your problem?
Yeah, right.
I'm not suggesting that.
No, not at all.
Yeah, but I mean, there was a way to not wait the whole first day.
Yeah, that's true, but I think it
I think it's great. I think it's great. I mean, honestly. That kind of patience is a good thing to know about, quite frankly, because you had made that deal, and it was really important to you. And important enough that you said something to Bob at the end of the day, and everything worked out fine.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I had a great time with
But the
all those
fanship
guys.
for that film will never fade or
Yeah, it's amazing. I had no, all the movies I've done, I've been so lucky that I've had these movies that have kind of stayed
yeah,
on the radar throughout the decades now.
right.
And
It's pretty interesting.
it's strange.
Yeah.
It's strange. I've been very lucky that way. That some of the movies I've done have just stayed in the conscience of people and on the radar. It's bizarre.
Now, we actually appeared on a talk show together, the host of which I do remember. And so the question is, do you?
Was it Comics Unleashed?
Nope. I'm talking about a late night talk show.
Oh.
Merv
boy.
Griffin?
Nope. It's the afternoon.
Oh, was it Martin Short?
Nope.
Afternoon talk show?
No, he said Merv Griffin. I said that was in the afternoon.
Oh, okay.
This was a late night
This
talk.
was late night. This
Yeah.
would have been.
Little off the beaten track.
Chevy Chase?
Carson Daly?
Yes.
Yeah.
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 I just want to point out there was something that we did together that I remembered and
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
and you didn't.
Yeah. No, now I do.
I wanted to,
though. Now I do. Thank you.
try to level things
Thank
out a little
you.
bit
You
if
know, yeah,
possible.
I needed that.
Yeah, you listen.
Is this cedar, by the way? I just
It's a horrible pine.
horrible pine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It looks horrible.
Yeah. But it's the tradition of the
Yeah.
show.
I love it.
There's a
I
lot of
love it.
history in these nicks.
Oh, Nick, and don't forget the stains.
Oh, there's plenty of stains.
Wow.
Yeah.
Looks like, you ever see Bryan Adams' pockmarked cheeks?
Well, I think everyone has. This is what it reminds you of.
If his face was a table.
If you were forced to look really closely at his
Yeah.
cheek, this would
is
be
like-
like a blown up photo of.
of Bryan Adams' pockmarked cheek.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Beautiful.
It really is a nice piece of wood.
Is this IKEA?
No, please. IKEA wishes they handled stuff like this.
Okay.
No, this is I'm going to say an antique. Was it Wirtz Brothers? Yeah, Wirtz Brothers. Right there in the Santa Monica.
Warts Brothers.
WERTZ.
Okay.
Wirtz Brothers.
Warts.
Yeah, just some fine work. They collect, I don't know if this is antique as much as it was just old.
Yeah.
There's
We're just beat up, really.
well, we beat it up. It was
Yeah.
not this beat up 6 years ago.
I like things
It's
with
also
battle
moved
scar.
like 4 studios.
It's moved 4 studios.
I like it.
Here's
Tells
yeah,
a story.
It does tell a story. It tells many stories.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks having a Pabst Blue Ribbon in each hand
Oh.
was banged onto this table.
Oh my God.
Let's see, Seth MacFarlane and his Jack Daniels. I remember all the booze, really,
Yeah.
on the show. Billy Bob Thornton, 12-pack of
Didn't Seth
Bud
MacFarlane
Light.
also have a salad?
Who did?
Didn't he request a salad?
Seth MacFarlane.
Yes.
Had a salad, yes.
While you
To
were
balance
talking.
the Jack.
Yeah.
To balance the Jack Daniels.
He ate a salad during the interview.
It was just fantastic.
Wow.
It was
Delicious.
sexy. Have you heard him sing?
Yeah.
Yeah, we should probably talk about something else. How does a big old lumbering brontosaurus get the name lickety-split? Because lickety-split, as far as my knowledge of the term, means post-haste, quickly. And I think of a brontosaurus, and that's the last word I would think of. Is that what you were going for?
No, because
A little
the
juxtaposed?
brontosaurus, which you're speaking about, is the star of my children's books.
Yes.
And he was a young brontosaurus. He was a little kid brontosaurus. So he was full of energy and was always
Galloping around.
Yeah, he was always whipping around and very curious and poking.
Seemed a little clumsy.
A little clumsy, when you're a brontosaurus, you're clumsy.
Like a
but-
puppy, tripping
Yeah,
up on your own
so
big
he was,
feet.
Yeah, that kind of guy. Yeah.
The genesis of Lickety Split?
The genesis of Lickety Split is, as I said earlier, I went to animation college.
Yes.
And back in those days, this was digital computerized animation. So basically.
Before your CGI.
Exactly. So basically, we did what was called classical animation, which is you'd basically draw everything, and to do a walk cycle
What's
of
happening
Bugs
right now?
Bunny walking across the floor, this would probably be about 85 drawings. And it was so long and tedious that I just, when I got out of college, I was like, I need something that tells a story on every page. I need a new drawing. I can't draw Bugs Bunny's leg here and then here and then here and then here and then here and then, you know, it was too robotic. And so I thought, kids' books, I love to write. I want every page to be a new visual experience and a new piece of artwork that I would have to create and paint and draw. And
Panel? Were they called panels?
Yeah, panel. And so I just thought, man, I want to get into kids' books, and that was just a great creative expression for me to kind of tackle writing and composing structure and drawing different characters and all that stuff. So.
Right. How many books of Lickety Split before it turned dark? Because I know a lot of the research, what was written at some point was, some of the parents were concerned that the sweet, lumbering puppy Brontosaurus had...
He had the name, so he went into porno. Yeah, that's kind of became his porno name when he got older. Yeah.
Let's jump right to the present.
Okay, what do you
There's
got for
a new
me?
Google Play game app called Fallopio.
Yeah. Have you played it?
I've not.
It just came out, so maybe
It
not.
just dropped December 20th.
Yeah. It's called...
Now available.
Yeah.
Let me describe for you gamers in the house. This new app is described thusly. Fallopio gives you the opportunity to shoot down bad sperm cells before they make it to the egg. Jump and glide through the fallopian tubes in order to reach your goals. Power up with birth control pills and vitamins and ride healthy blood cells to stay alive. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. It was banned by Apple.
Perfect.
Yeah. So if you
And
own...
the folks at Google said, this is sexy.
Yeah, and if you have Android, you can download Fallopio, and it's a pretty intense game. There's like 32 layers to it.
Yeah, you're not fucking around.
No.
It sounds silly and ridiculous,
Yeah.
but I looked at some of the animation.
It's a real game. Yeah, it's intense.
How long did it take to...
We worked on that for about a year.
Yeah.
And basically you're running through a fallopian tube. Fallopio's a superhero who's got a cannon, and it's like kind of Super Mario. You're running through and you're shooting stuff and you're jumping.
Well, what are you shooting, to be specific?
They're bullets. They're
Okay.
exploding bullets. Yeah,
All
and
right.
then you're trying to prevent bad sperm, like Saddam.
To reach the egg.
Yeah, like Hitler, Saddam, Screech, things like that, getting to the egg.
Right.
And so it's really silly and stupid and fun.
Well, there's no better way to do a game.
Yeah, Fallopio.
Fallopio, Google app, Google Play game app, and that's specifically for the Android.
Yeah, it's only Android.
Devices.
Apple banned it. They wouldn't let us go on because it dealt with sperm, I guess. But meanwhile, you got Tinder, and there's that deals with a lot of sperm.
Buckets.
Yeah. By the way, have you ever had your tubes tied? That's between me and you.
Well, I've not.
Really?
Yeah.
So you could still
Well,
you could
I don't know.
have a baby still.
I don't know
Oh.
that that's true.
You could. If they're not tied, you could.
Yeah, I mean, mathematically, biologically,
Biologically, you could.
yeah, but mathematically, not so much.
Because you're older.
Yes.
Yeah.
You get older and it just,
The yeast.
it used to be unleavened bread down there.
Yes.
And
Oh
now
my
there's
God.
yeast.
Harvey Levin bread.
Yeah. If I had an opportunity to set Harvey Levin on fire for his crimes against humanity, the humanity being famous people,
Yeah.
would you join the fun?
I haven't had any bad experiences with TMZ yet, but I could see if it went bad, yeah, you'd want to just crucify that guy.
Yeah.
You know?
It's one of the most bizarre success stories, in my opinion, in terms of being a bottom feeder and succeeding to that level.
But see, I start to wonder too if there's people now, because it's kind of part of society now.
The fabric?
the fabric. I start to wonder if celebrities feel insecure if they haven't been on it for a little while. You know, whether it's just
course they
arriving
do.
at the airport or
Where's everybody? Why aren't they chasing
yeah,
me?
why haven't they interviewed me? Why isn't TMZ chasing me? There's got to be that going on too, I'm sure.
Of 225 shows, only one prior were they waiting in the parking lot for the guest to exit. Only one out of 225, and we've had 9 Academy Award winners. We've had
Oh, really?
crazy, giant, successful.
I had them, I think it was about 2 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago. I was coming out of, for whatever reason, it was 10 o'clock at night, I felt like pancakes. I go to IHOP.
Where else?
I go to IHOP on Sunset Boulevard. I'm with a buddy. We go get pancakes.
And by pancakes, let's be clear, you actually mean crack cocaine. You went Sunset Boulevard.
How dare you, sir?
Yeah. So you and a pal went to have pancakes.
We get pancake. We walk out. TMZ's there. And I asked him, I said, dude, what are you doing here? It's 10 o'clock at night. I just had pancakes. I go, what are you doing here? He goes, and I go, how did you know I was here? And he goes, oh, I actually came to eat here. And I'm like, seriously, you wanted it, of all people, the TMZ guy felt like 10 o'clock flapjacks. Great, I believe. Okay, what do you want?
Yeah, any flight, LA, New York, in either direction, they're waiting at baggage claim.
Yeah, they're there
Every
a lot.
single airline
Yeah.
and every cross-country flight now. It's unbelievable.
I just do roller bag. But I'm not a guy that gets tagged by them a lot.
I'm
Now
a
and
roller
then.
bag too. Yeah, me neither. But I mean, it's slow days. Every day's a slow news
Yeah,
day.
yeah.
Jamie will go in the opposite direction when we get off the plane. She'll avoid the baggage claim altogether.
Yeah.
So that because she got yelled at once by her family,
Because I look like hell.
because you look like hell on TMZ. Because we'd been on a plane for 6 hours.
I know, it's brutal.
This is what happens.
Yeah, you don't want to talk to anybody. It's,
If you could be in your pajamas, you would.
Yeah, yeah.
Other than the game app, there was something else that you pitched to the great Jeffrey Katzenberg. Something about a blueberry falling in love with a ping pong ball,
Yeah.
or vice versa.
Yeah, it's a feature-length animated cartoon that I can't give you too many details because, believe it or not, it's still in development.
Right.
But it's been in development for 8 years. I sold it to them 8 years ago.
You sold it based on a pitch, though, according to the research, between you and Jeffrey Katzenberg.
Yeah, yeah.
So did one 8 years ago get a sit with Katzenberg?
You know what's funny?
It's not funny yet.
It's not funny yet. Damn it. But it will be.
Okay.
I had a buddy who was an animator over at, because I went to animation school, so I had a buddy who was an animator at DreamWorks,
Still not funny.
and it might not be funny.
Okay. I just want to say, before you use a qualifier,
Yeah, you're right.
you got to be prepared to back it up.
Yeah, it's not funny. This story is not funny, and stop laughing. Stop
now
laughing.
I'm
now,
having the time of my life.
See?
Okay.
So
You had a buddy.
And this is stuff I've done my whole career, and I think it's a tribute to being naive,
And nutty.
and it's worked for me my whole career. But I called him up one day and I said, "Hey, Reg, I've got an idea for a movie." I said, "Who do I call?" He goes, "Well, here's the number of an executive I know." So I called the guy and I kind of gave him the roundabout idea. He said, "Oh, come on in." So I went in and sat down. I talked to him. And blah, blah, blah. He said, yeah, develop that out. So I developed it out, and next thing you know, we're sitting in front of Jeffrey pitching the idea to him, and Jeffrey loved it, and all of a sudden I have a deal to write the script and start doing some of the artwork and developing the whole movie. And it's one of those movies, as I've found out with a lot of these studios, as you know, movies can get picked up and be developed for years and years and years. So this movie is still, you know, there was a point when I actually sat down with the executives. I said, guys, do you want to just stop? Like, we've been going on it for 5-6 years now, and
It's okay if we stop.
it's okay if we stop. And they go, no, we know there's a movie here.
Right.
And I'm like, okay. I mean, to me, it's a good problem to have. I love it that it's still there in their wheelhouse, and we keep having meetings about it because it still has a chance to be made.
Yeah.
Which I love, but it's a little frustrating that things can take a long time. But at the end game is to see stuff on the screen and be excited and happy about them. So that's kind of the history of that. It was.
Well, I wanted to hear as much about it as you can tell us, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm sorry I can't tell you more what the movie is, but because it's still in development.
Which I'm thrilled about.
Yeah.
I think that's fantastic.
Thank you.
We have very little time left.
That's what she
I'd like
said.
to spend, you should meet my dad.
Yeah.
I'd like to spend some of that time accomplishing a couple of things.
Yes, please.
One of which is the very last thing that will happen in the show that will draw upon your improvisational skills that you have built much of your career on. And you seem to love and thrive in doing. It's called the Larry King Game. I'll tell you more about that in a moment. But first, while we're on the subject of games, playing games, there's a game that was invented for this show, again by our head writer, Jamie Foxx, called Who Tweeted. Now, I've noticed you're on the Twitter.
Yeah.
You don't follow a lot of famous people. Know who tweeted? You went and got the clipboard.
I used it to take notes.
Oh, I panicked. I was trying to make sure that you guys were covered if you had one. Thank Christ there's no Who Tweeted today.
Oh, good.
Yeah. A lot of pressure. I sensed as I was explaining to you that your eyes were rolling back into your head, and I thought, oh, fuck.
No, I would have played.
No, you know what? Here's what we'll do.
Do you want to do Who Farted instead?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Someone in this room has already farted.
Jamie Foxx. Yeah, that's a veggie fart. That's a veggie fart.
Veggie fart.
Yeah.
It was, it was my beet smoothie.
It was her beets.
smoothie.
There
We
you
got
go.
beats.
Yeah.
We got beets.
A beet fart.
All right, so
Wow.
I mentioned to you, okay, you can't talk about the premise of the animated film.
See.
I have a couple of others I'd like to pitch to you because I read there's stuff on the interwebs.
Yeah.
You know, I'm half kidding when I say it's about a blueberry falling in love with a ping pong ball. So I have a couple of other pitches.
Yeah,
I like
please.
to pitch you before I try to get in the room with Mr. Katzenberg.
Yeah.
Hot dog and a pair of tongs called Why So Grabby.
Now, what am I supposed to do?
Just thumbs up, thumbs down. Should I
Say it again?
Should I further develop it? It's about a hot dog and a pair of tongs, and it's called Why So Grabby.
That one's maybe.
Lukewarm. I want honesty. I want brutal honesty.
Yeah.
A wheelbarrow and a tomahawk called Where Are We Going With This?
That's better. That's better. Yeah. That's better.
I
Yeah.
thought that was more in your wheelhouse because a wheelbarrow and a tomahawk would not be together.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
And lastly, the stupidest thing I've ever written down, a pie, this movie is about a pie,
Yeah. What kind?
rhubarb,
Rhubarb. Okay.
and an oven mitt. And it's called Don't Put Me on the Sill, You Jerk.
That's the one.
Okay.
That's the one. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So one out of the three I'll
Yeah.
develop. All right. I like
that one. Yeah.
All right.
If it's available,
Please.
can I buy the rights to Why So Grabby?
Why So Grabby? Well, I have whysograbby.com, and we can
Seems
talk.
like it's suddenly become available.
Yeah.
And I've immediately got some ideas.
Okay. Yeah. Can you tell us anything about Back in the Day, a motion picture?
Yes. That's a great movie. That stars Michael Rosenbaum from. He played Lex Luthor.
Yes, he did. And he also directed it?
He directed. He wrote and directed it.
Right.
Nick Swartzen's in the movie.
We love Nick Schwartz.
Sarah Colonna, Morena Baccarin
A
from
little
Homeland.
lukewarm on Lorena. No, she's amazing.
Yeah, Morena. Oh my God.
Or Morena, as you
Morena.
like to call her.
Yeah. What do you call
She
her?
played the wife of, right? She plays the wife on Homeland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Raina Baccarin.
Starred in the TV show V.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sexy.
Oh, she's
Canadian,
awesome. No.
I think.
No.
Brazilian.
No?
No.
Brazilian, I think. Or she has
let's call
Brazilian. She has Brazilian background.
Yeah.
Let's
yeah.
go on the phone.
So Back in the day,
Yeah.
about a high school reunion kind of setting?
Yeah, it's kind of like a guy that goes back. He goes back to his small town after being kind of doing the Hollywood thing, like we've done. You know, where did you come
So
out
far,
of?
a very familiar premise.
Where'd you come out of?
San Francisco.
Is that
It
that
gets my
weird?
attention.
is it weird?
I have a little canine in my family background. So,
It's like it's a commanding finger, huh?
yes, it is.
I
I'm
mean,
gonna
the
pay-
real thing is
You
I've
could
been
move it
waiting
around.
for you to pull it because I want to do a
No.
beat fart.
No.
Your wife did a beat fart. Why can't I?
Not quite wife. Fianced,
That's your fiance?
technically.
So she can do a beat fart.
And you cannot. Because I haven't put a ringer on it, a finger on it, a ring on it. I'm all right. I'm not all right.
You're not all right. That's why I'm here.
Born in Rio, of
Rio,
of Brazilian and Italian ancestry, moved to New York at age 10.
from Canada.
No Canada.
Oh, okay.
I made it up.
A pie in an oven mitt called Don't Put Me on the Sill, You Jerk.
Yeah.
That's
love
the
it.
one.
That's the one.
Okay.
A rhubarb pie.
A rhubarb pie.
What's your favorite pie?
Jamie has made a peach blueberry? Yeah, peach blueberry,
Wow.
which was spectacular. That's my favorite. I mean, pumpkin traditionally, if I'm boring and honest, is my favorite pie. But more creatively, I'm gonna go peach blueberry. Yours?
I like a good Nelly Furtado apple crumble.
That's what we got. That's a correct answer.
Oh,
Yeah. Let me explain the rules of the Larry King game.
okay.
And then, as our friend Paul Reiser would say, I'll drive you home. Larry, God bless him, would have that moment, that little buffer before he'd go to the phones. He'd look in the camera and share something about himself.
Yeah.
Invariably something no one ever wanted or cared about.
Yeah.
So it was a Larry Kingism. I like Oreo cookies, whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah.
But he'd said it so sincerely that it was hilarious to us.
Okay.
So I need a bad Larry King impression. You're going to reenact that moment. I need a
Okay.
bad Larry King impression. I don't want a good one. I want a
You got
silly
it. You got it.
Harland Williams version of
Yeah.
Larry King. And then I want you, as Larry King, to share something about Larry that nobody wants to know.
About Larry.
About Larry, it's
Okay.
not about you.
Yeah.
You are Larry King.
Got it.
This is Larry sharing something about himself before he goes to the phones. That's all it is. And when you go to the phones, if the name of the city is funny sounding, it's a good thing.
Okay.
That's your camera. When you're ready, bad Larry King impression. Larry shares something about himself and then he goes to the phones. That's it.
Okay.
And when you're ready, there's your camera.
Let me get into character here.
Oh, thank you for that.
Hi, I'm Larry King. I'll never forget the first time I wore my suspenders. I was lactating, and I was out at the mall. There was a little Korean boy, and I didn't know how to hold the baby while he suckled on my ancient teat. So I pulled the suspenders out. He just hung there sucking like a baby kangaroo on a root tit. We're gonna go to a caller.
What city?
Sydney, Australia. Go ahead. You're on the air.
We've never had Sydney, Australia. Oh, thank you.
Is that all right?
Can't ask for more.
Is that all right?
I mean, I would not ask for more. I would seem greedy. And it
Yeah.
is hilarious, as always. Thank you.
Thank you.
Truly.
Thank you. Bless
Does-
you, Angel.
Does it
Cinnamon
seem?
Angel.
Does it seem like we spend 90 plus minutes together?
Was that?
just
Oh my
now?
gosh!
Yeah.
No.
A little bit of fun.
It felt like we were back in the car having gasoline thrown on us, about to be lit on fire by Michael Clark Duncan.
Pretending to be dead.
Yeah.
The hardest acting.
This interview was like pretending to be dead. You nailed it.
No, sir, you did. Thank you.
Thank you,
Ever so
Kevin.
much.
Always a treat, buddy.
Please sit there painfully, if you wouldn't mind, stoically, if possible, while I wrap things up for the folks at home. That's our guest, Harland Williams, ladies and Jews. That's how you do it with a masterful comedian. Check out at Harland Williams on Twitter, Harland Highway, available every which way. Go to harlandwilliams.com to check all of this out and everything else that he's up to, including Lickety Split and, well, everything. It's all there, and it's pretty fantastic. extremely fortunate and a great way to spend a Sunday, if you ask me. But I would appreciate it if that were your last question of the day. Sammy,
Yeah, buddy.
thanks for everything, pal. Great to have you back
It's my pleasure.
on this side of the United States.
You know, I'm so glad the court's cleared everything up.
I am too.
Yeah.
And quickly.
We paid the right.
You could almost say lickety split. Jamie, did you
Yes.
enjoy yourself today?
I did, very much so.
Well, what else can we ask for? Josh J-Mac, thanks so much from the Crow's Nest. Mike, appreciate you filling in very much. The creeping up behind me moment, I didn't mean to panic. It's just the first. Not used to hearing the wood creak behind me, ever in life or fake life like this.
He's also very handsome, so it's like he could be one of those like creepy handsome guys.
Ah, you can't ask for more. And by the way, not a normal Jamie look, so she's being sincere.
Yeah, I was being sincere.
Yeah, that's a little
You're
outside.
too skinny for me.
Yeah, too skinny and not enough.
Chevy Chaser.
I am a chubby chaser.
Yeah, it speaks well for me. Yeah, fortunately, I'm good and fat. But thanks, Mike, for filling in with that handsome face of yours. Samantha Ward, back from the motion picture business to lend her hand. We're so happy and thrilled to see back in action. Natalie Rosen, the world's greatest intern, will be back next week. We've spoken about her. She's back in the loop next week, as will be Dr. Evil Kenny Chen.
Oh boy, Dr. Chen's got some answers.
He better have some stories. I believe he
have
went to the Asian Disney.
He went to Tokyo Disney Sea, which I'm dying to go to because apparently it's the greatest Disney theme park on the planet.
What does the C stand for in Tokyo Disney Sea?
The ocean?
Ah, S-E-A.
Yes.
I pictured the letter C.
No.
This would be that way for me.
Euro Itchy and Scratchy Land open for business.
My last paycheck, she bounced.
Come on, who are you to resist?
My children, they need wine.
They need wine. They. That's the French Disney,
Yeah, that's yours.
not the
That's
Euro
Itchy and
Disney.
Scratchy Land.
There's no Asian Itchy and Scratchy Land.
No?
Not yet.
Okay. Something to look forward to. That is our show for today and for all times. Next Sunday, January 11th, Anthony Cumia. On the 18th, we've got your Rainn Wilson. Then we're going to take a few weeks off while I am celebrated at the Sundance Film Festival. I'll keep you apprised as to upcoming guests as well. We appreciate if you would contact us by writing to, contact at kevinpollakschatcho.com. We'd love to hear from you. That's it. Until next time, and as always, in this new year, get out of my face.